brackets, 2 battery plates, 2 different battery plates, by the way. This is the gold mount, and we're able to do that with our accessory rod block back here with some 3-inch rods attached, where we can attach our battery plates. We even added some quick release handles. That's right, you can add whatever you want to these kits. And because it's so strong and so modular, look how easily this comes off. Boom. Completely wireless, completely modular. And because it's modular, you're able to build out your own custom kit. You can buy each one of these parts individually. So if you already have a camera cage that you like, you can just get the core bracket. You can just get the mini V-mount. You can just get the handles. This is all just along an 18-inch rod that you can buy individually. So as you guys can see, you really can rig this out however you want it. So tag us on social media when you get yours. We really want to see how you do it. But in the meantime, stay tuned. We have so many more exciting things coming, and I will see you guys there.
In a world where gear has no compromise and image capture inches towards perfection, industry leaders Western Digital and Panasonic trust Condor Blue to forge the ultimate on-set storage technology. Introducing the Condor Blue Pro Blade SSD handle. The future of NVMe recording is here. Designed to employ the blazing fast SanDisk Professional Pro Blade SSD. This device is ready for the most demanding workloads, achieving precise adjustability, the full length program, working in sound styles, the double window mount provides maximum independence, while the machine can use ensure all is not sacrificed. Built-in audio speakers have the Pro Blade SSD is the ultimate tool for professional.
We've got the marble up on a spinny thing here.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Our secondary B-roll shot. It's pretty epic, man. It's fun.
Seems just tall enough not to hit any of us in the head, and yeah, we'll be good.
So yeah, Michael, tell me about your life. I mean, you live in Ohio. You've got
It's true.
a wife and kids.
Yeah, wife, 2 kids. It's a fun, creator life of just balancing everything, as you know, and many others know. And yeah, so I basically grew up in Ohio, Midwest. Always wanted to be a filmmaker, cliche. And then a handful of years ago, started a good old YouTube channel because I'm always a nerd about new technology and gear and everything. And last year was my first time being like full-time YouTuber after like a decade of doing like commercial freelancing work. And it's been a blast.
And your wife actually works with you, is that right?
Yeah, so
That's rare.
I don't like editing that much. And so I was like, well, I don't have the money to hire an editor right now. So, Michelle, you're always here. So I taught her DaVinci Resolve, and now she's practically a pro. And she tells me if my videos are bad and shouldn't be uploaded and helps me correct them. So
That's a good idea.
Oh, it's great. It's the best.
I love that as well. And like, it'd be great because I could take care of the kids while she edits.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the kids will be downstairs. They usually love getting in the A-roll, or most of the time I record late at night now to avoid all the stampeding upstairs since my studio's in the basement.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. It's nothing better than working with the partner that you already love, and we haven't like totally fought each other on a video concept yet.
So you brought a fun toy to NAB this year. What is
Yeah.
that sitting to your left?
Yeah, this is the DJI Ronin 4D. Normally, everyone knows me for being a Blackmagic guy, which I still love, my Pocket 6K Pro and IRIX setups and everything, but this I've just been testing out for the past month. DJI sent that out. I love it. I mean, for solo operators, it's a very unique camera, obviously. It's the good old chicken head once it bounces around. But it's got some great features, and for the use cases that it's intended for, it's hard to beat, and I think actually competitively priced, especially with their newer products.
Now, is this product being used on film sets right now?
I've asked my filmmaker friends who do a bunch of music videos and narrative films, and most people have seen it as a BTS camera, which makes sense. Yeah, I think some people are nervous to use it as a cam, but especially once they develop their lens line, I think we'll start to see it quite a bit more.
Yeah, so this thing is a full frame, is it 8K?
6K, and then
6K?
they have an 8K version coming. And then obviously the party trick is the good old Z-axis.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at the stabilization on that. That'll make Joshio real happy.
Yeah, well, he connected 3 of like the extended arms on it.
Sorry about the feedback, guys. We got.
Is it this microphone giving the feedback?
No, it's the ones.
No, I mean, I didn't know if the interference or something.
No,
but
that thing's so cool, man. So,
yeah.
Obviously, you're very active on YouTube. You just said you went full time last year, but it wasn't, your first rodeo. You've been doing it for a while. What was it that kind of made that switch for you to go full time?
It was mostly the fact that I really just wanted to start, making the stuff that I wanted to make. And, I think any freelancer or someone who works with clients constantly has had that experience of, like, you make something, you're proud of it, it's really cool, and then you get, like, feedback, and by the final revision, it's just, like, nothing the way you described. And so, there's still some clients I love working with and projects that are fun, but with YouTube, you can just trial and error your way through creating exactly what you want to create. I love, the whole building community and coming to things like this where you actually put physical faces to the people that you talk to on Twitter, emails, and YouTube and stuff. It's a blast. And so being able to do that every day, I'm not good with schedules, and that pains my wife constantly, but I love just being able to wake up, play with my kids, work a bit, play with them more, and yeah.
I think you liked a tweet the other day that I responded to a guy named Eric Jackson, and he was talking about ADHD, and I said, yeah, so this is how it works. I am on my computer, and then I'm like, oh, I need to get a song, off of Soundstripe to use for this. So I go on Chrome, and I go, oh, you know what? I need to check something real quick. I go over, and next thing you know, I've watched an entire podcast,
a documentary,
a video essay, the most recent Ryan Trahan video or whatever, and then I forget why I'm there, go back to my edit, and then I forgot that song, and then the process repeats. And you said, I've never felt more seen.
Yeah, never felt more seen, and actually, I believe it was Cody Wayner who is always giving resources for ADHD and all that, and I forget the term right now, but there's something about having a second person next to you, even if they're not, like, watching you like a hawk, but, like, having another presence next to you will keep you on task better. So that's kind of been an extra bonus of having, like, a desk. Michelle's we kind of set up a desk behind me. And so, like, if she's down there editing her stuff, it keeps me on task way more because I know I, like, bring out the snacks and pull up YouTube for too long or something, she'd be like, don't you have like 5 videos to finish or something? It's like, yes, I do.
So I'll nerd out about YouTube a little bit with you because we've talked a lot about thumbnails and ideas and stuff. What are you finding right now that's working for you? And not only that, but like a balance between what works well on YouTube, but things that also get you excited. Like, what's your kind of current thing going on? You've had a couple of videos pop off, and one of them in particular was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, and that's when I learned why, like, the balance of clickbait to just like visual intrigue and interest is, I think, every creator's, like, everyone has their own balancing act. Because for the longest time, I loved like really aesthetically clean thumbnails that would like just have the product and really dark and whatever. Basically everything you don't want to do if you want to be seen or stand out on the homepage. But that video and that thumbnail specifically, I knew I was speaking for my April Fool's joke. I basically did a play that Apple bought Blackmagic,
which kind of is sort of believable.
Somewhat believable,
and kind of losing traction, it seems. And
yeah, Blackmagic advertises Resolve more than Final Cut in all of their ads now.
Makes me sad as a Final Cut user, but
yeah. Well, I'll switch you over this week to Resolve. So, 18.5 just came out today. Tons of new features.
Looks amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, and those also are my 2 biggest audiences. Anytime I do videos on Blackmagic or Apple, they do well, good engagement, the audience likes it. And so kind of mixing those two together, and to be fair, and I was saying this before we started recording, it was actually supposed to be a play on Premiere and Adobe buying Blackmagic, but Premiere kept crashing and wouldn't work for the bit. So unironically. So anyway, I'm never going to be sponsored by Adobe. It's fine.
I think YouTube nerding out, though, I think the simplicity of Apple buying, that's a cleaner title.
It's a clean title.
It's a simpler idea.
Yeah. But I'm still trying to, and I think you've been playing with this a lot too, of like the colors and things. And I think you and I talk about like going to other genres and grabbing aesthetics from those thumbnails, like Ryan Trahan, Mr. Beast, all those, and seeing what components you can bring into our genres is very interesting to me.
30 to 40-year-old male audience that we have.
Yeah, the 25 to 35 and up kind of main audiences, and how can we add more, vibrant colors, or just, it helps having like really nice aperture lights in the background and stuff.
So here's a question though, like how do you balance, making videos about things that you are genuinely interested in, or maybe a brand that you really love, and you just know innately like this isn't going to perform because your entire, income is now reliant on this YouTube channel. It's kind of this dichotomy of like these, you have to have the video perform well, so therefore you make more money, so therefore more brands want to work with you, but then more brands want to work with you and they say, hey, we want to sponsor you for this product that nobody's going to watch the video of. We're coming to you because you make videos that people watch, but here's a product that nobody's going to watch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's the cycle of like, and then obviously too, like you want to be authentic. You don't want to only talk about things that will work for the sensation of clickbait. So how do you balance all that?
Yeah, I think it's...
Because I'm wondering.
I definitely am learning to adhere to the advice of like planning your videos before you start shooting. Like with A-rolls and all that for so long, I would just get excited about a product and I would just hit record and I would figure out the video in the edit. And that's where like I would craft it. And I think I learned, and then it's also about knowing your audience and your buckets in the YouTube formula book that you turned me on to.
YouTube Formula by Daryl Eves.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Sounds like you've read it.
I listened to the audiobook because I'm not much of a reader, but I learned my lesson with my Vancouver video last year, where I now describe it as a great video on the wrong channel. That was my worst performing video ever to exist on my channel, but it's the video I'm most proud of creatively. But my biggest mistake with that is like I'm not a travel channel, and in that I talk about like my life story and what I'm interested in, and I end up going skydiving, conquering my fear of heights, and like showing beautiful Vancouver, like great video. But my biggest mistake was not figuring out how to integrate like a camera or talking about a new lens or like a piece of gear or something, which would have made it relevant to my audience. And so I think it's just about how to come up with these concepts that like I'm trying to transition out of just gear reviews, sitting at a desk and doing this, and like going out and like I love doing like 48 competitions or short films, and like if I do the occasional commercial gig, like how is this impacting creators and filmmakers in real life, rather than just because we've all gotten those comments of like, well, how do you really know if the 40 is good because you just sat at your desk and like talked about it. It's like, oh well, actually when like filmed a music video of this or filmed a model with this and like used it.
Have you found that idea or exercising, going out and doing stuff to be harder now that you're full-time YouTube? So it's like this meta thing where you have to go shoot something that is kind of like a commercial project so that you can then therefore talk about it on the channel?
Yes, and
versus just doing both, getting paid for that. I guess now you don't have to deliver and edit, and you don't have to work with clients and all that. So.
Yeah, so I mean, you can work with, depending on the type of setup with brands, obviously you get feedback and changes, but it feels so much less, like, especially if you go through the one or two brands that, aren't so fun to work, like you were saying, maybe you don't fully believe in the product, but like it was a quick paycheck. I think everyone's had that experience where it's like hard to turn down something, but you very quickly realize the cons of like your audience can feel your vibes are off, you feel your vibes are off, and like the whole thing is just kind of like So like being full time now, it's like, okay, I'll work with the brands that are actually fun to work with, that make sense. Yes, you still have to be able to pay your bills at the end of the day. But again, I got to give credit to my wife, is probably the biggest stickler of like, I'll get an email or a call and be like, oh, this person wants to sponsor this video. And she'll be like, but does that actually make sense? And kind of run through your own filters that you make. And if you can't come up with a cool concept that makes sense and that you can really get excited about, then it's just like, hey, I got to pass on this one. But
that's maturity, I think.
It is maturity.
It's easy to say yes to money, especially.
Yeah.
And I think that's why in our little niche, it probably is a good idea to balance. If you truly love being a creator on the internet, doing YouTube stuff, balancing that with freelance until the thing you're actually passionate about can generate that revenue. Because I think if you're gonna, I think this is a long game that we're playing of like a lifelong career. I mean, look at Caleb Pike. He's been doing this for like 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, like that's possible. And I think YouTube will be around in 15 more years, and it'll change, and we're gonna have to be willing to change with the platform as it changes. I mean, shorts, I think, I haven't really seen many of our guys figure that out yet, to be honest. I've seen a lot of photographers figure it out with like the man on the street style photography. How do you do that for videography? There's some people that I don't even know that are blowing up on shorts. But yeah, I mean, do you think about that, like the new things like shorts on YouTube? Like,
sure, yeah. I mean, I am experimenting just like everyone else. And TikTok and IG Reels and all that good stuff. There's so many platforms, and I'm seeing that there's an interesting thing going on where almost some of the middle long form content, where like the 5-minute stuff has gone away, because a lot of the 5-minute stuff, people are like, I can just turn that into a minute or less and make it a short. And then you also have people going even longer form content, because my videos that are like 18 minutes or longer usually have much better stats, but also people like it more because I go more in depth to something. And so I think it's it's been a long road, like you said, though, because I mean, I technically started my channel in like 2016, started taking it seriously in like 2019, and yeah, so I mean, it's
bought a Mac Pro that is collecting dust.
Well, it's certainly
Anybody
not
wanna
collecting
buy a Mac
dust,
Pro?
but yeah,
Well, yeah, it sucks it in and blows it out with the fan.
That's true. The 3 very large fans in it are, I guess, collecting dust.
Literally collecting dust.
But yeah, and then hopefully WWDC we see something.
Do you have an Apple Silicon machine or?
Yeah, my wife's M1 base MacBook Pro.
Oh, okay. So you haven't done the Max or the Ultra?
No, I've been constantly debating selling the Mac Pro to get like a 16-inch or go with the Studio or something, because they just stomp on everything. It's
really, I mean, well, in some ways, I guess it still crushes, right? But I mean, it gave you a lot of content.
Oh yeah,
so
that's the thing at the end of the day. And I made a video when the DJI Mini 3 drone came out, where I made a video very quickly, and I was like, for those of you, think about the last time you flew your drone, how often you fly it. Like, we all see stuff, we want to upgrade. Companies are starting to come out with, new stuff every single year. You're never going to keep up, so, does the thing, do the thing you bought it for. And as much as I, make jokes and join people on joking about my cheese grater, it does the job, it does it very well, and it's done it, better than the computer I had at the time. So,
absolutely. Yeah, you
had the trash can before the cheese grater. So,
oh, nice. Well, I guess you're kind of setting yourself up for when they finally do the new Mac Pro, right?
Well, I'm holding out that
it'll be very expensive.
On June, that they're going to be like, and we're not screwing over existing Pro owners, and here's a little thing you can insert into the PCI slot.
Nice. Yeah.
That turns off the Intel chip and turns on an Apple Silicon. So I'm delirious like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I doubt that'll happen, but that would be cool. I think they made that computer and maybe didn't expect to see what happened. I mean, they knew silicon was going on when they built it.
It was only like 1 or 2 years later that silicon came out.
So there's got to be. You could probably just slot the motherboard out and put a new one in, I would imagine. So
we'll see. It's Apple, so who knows?
You mentioned the 48-hour film festival competition. Tell me about that.
Oh, I love 48. So
you keep saying just 48, but you're referring specifically to like different cities and film
Yeah,
groups
sure.
will do these.
So I have a group of friends that we all kind of just will make these films together when we come. And the reason we do 48s is because so many of them have like day jobs. Obviously, I have kids. And so, maybe once a year, every couple years, like I've done one or two, like I say features, but they're on the lower end of the feature length version. But those are such time commitments, and 48s we love because they'll come along. It's like, all right, hey, this weekend we got this, and I personally think we've developed like the best system for 48s because we failed epically on our first year where we had to turn something in that was barely cut, had 0 color grade, so it was just log footage. Didn't even do a Rec 709 conversion. It was rough.
Have you found that Twitter account, Uncorrected Log?
Oh, no.
It's great. It's like they pull screen grabs from like commercials.
And that like forgot to grade a clip or something?
It's like the producer is like, oh, just ship it. And then the colorist is like, but it doesn't matter. Or they just run.
It looks filmic.
Sometimes
it's all
like
flat.
when you show an ungraded cut to like a producer or a client, and then you show them the graded, in their mind they get so used to what they were seeing. They're like, no, just leave it. It's fine. It's vibey. It's got a vibe. It's like, no, that's uncorrected.
Yeah, that should not be exported or uploaded anywhere.
Yeah. But anyways, so you're going for a vibe.
Yeah, going for a vibe on this was a sci-fi movie, so it was warm and ungraded footage. But no, so that taught us to, because we were filming up until like 3 p.m. on the Sunday when it was due at like 7 or something, and we had to like drive to the location and it in. So from that point on, we developed this system where Friday night when you get the prompt, a couple of us come together, create the concept, the script, and then we decide to shoot all day Saturday. Like all shooting has to be wrapped on Saturday. I go home, don't sleep, do a rough cut, and then Sunday we basically just have someone who does like original scores, and the director and stuff will come, and we'll just and we have all Sunday to just finalize. And we've been very lucky to win Best Cinematography a couple times, Best Editing, and we just got nominated.
So just the things that you did.
No, we also got like Best Original Score, Best Makeup one year, and then we just got 5 nominations for a bunch of stuff, including sound design. Joey did great on that, so it was fun.
That's awesome. I'm pulling up the live chat to see if we have anybody watching. If you are watching live, go ahead and send us a question. Maybe I'll bring it up in our conversation. Condor Blue, we're here at the booth.
Yeah.
We're good friends with some of the people that work here, but tell me about your experience with the products that Condor makes and just your experience getting to know the people that work here.
So I feel like with many people, Armando was my first drug dealer of Condor. Exactly. And so I think I was looking for a cage for maybe my like Pocket 4K or something. And he was just like, oh, I have something. Let me send it to you. And it was great. And so as the years have gone on, by far my favorite product continues to be like the quick release system and stuff. And I was joking with the guys yesterday. I was like, man, I love rigging cameras. And so it feels ironic to have a camera that doesn't really, is not much riggable.
DJI.
Yeah, but I did tell them they should beat DJI to getting their XLR adapter out first. So that'd be cool. Wink, wink, Condor. But no, seeing the new stuff they just came out, that top handle with the built-in SSD is nuts. For Pocket owners, if any of you were watching, like I was playing with it yesterday, it's incredible.
It's kind of an insta-buy, honestly, if you're a Pocket user or any of the Panasonic Lumix cameras, if you've been needing,
Yeah, because it could be a top handle or the RE pins rotate to do a side handle. Like, it's great. I just love when it's nice when a company, especially is so ingrained into the industry, will like just constantly hear problems. Like I'll feel like any of us will talk about like, oh, I wish there was a thing that connected these two weird components that you'd never think about connecting. And then there's like, oh, I CNC'd a prototype and here it is. Like, it's great. So, I mean, all the rigs that are around the booth, like are just constant like solutions that creators and filmmakers actually want. I know that sounds like a plug, but no one's paying me to be here. Like I swear.
The thing that I love about Condor is like it's just these are the people. They live in California. They're good people. They're filmmakers. They make films themselves. You know, Lucas is an incredible filmmaker himself, and award-winning director and DP.
What a true DP hiding behind the camera.
And so it's like these are like our people. You know, they're running the ship. It's not a bunch of engineers that don't know anything and they're not actually using this stuff, which a lot of these companies do. So, and not only that, they're based in America and are actually speaking to us and getting feedback. And even if you're watching and you're a customer or a potential customer, send your email to Condor. Maybe if you have an idea for a product.
Well, and the fact that they support creators. So I mean, look at that; those beautiful faces on the wall, Gerald and Justine and Armando.
Yeah,
like
how you started with Gerald before Justine.
Well, he made a comment earlier about that, how he always wants to be first, and so I just feel obligated, or like he's gonna hurt me later at the house if I don't say his name first.
Yeah, it's awesome. They got the different cables and things, so it's really exciting. And by the way, we had our first gold QR winner at the booth. If you're watching this live or you're here right now, there's these little QR codes, and if you scan it, there's like a golden ticket, like Willy Wonka for Condor Blue. Thousands of dollars worth of prizes. You can go online, condorblue.com, and see that as well.
Yeah, I heard about some of the prizes. I'm going to start scanning QR codes that I see. But
so, off topic, did you see the Mario movie?
No, I have not gone yet. My wife and kids went, but I heard it.
Fantastic. What did your wife and kids say about it? Did
They enjoyed it. Yeah,
I took my family to the theater, and it was one of the most like surprisingly like worth it moments for me.
Really?
Because I bought tickets for my whole family. It was like $70, and I was like, this better be good. And it was fantastic. I laughed, my wife laughed, and then the kids loved it.
Well, and then you told me last night you had a beautiful moment where you were like, oh, this is the first movie that I'm taking a son to, and no, they called out your films, man.
Yeah, that's right. That was really heartwarming. I told my youngest, I said, this is going to be your first movie, and then my oldest was like, no, it's not. He's watched Daddy's movies before in the theater. I was like, wow. Yeah.
That gets you right in the feels.
Really sweet.
It is interesting being a parent and creator and mixing all that in.
It's a hard
fun.
balance, but it's totally worth it. So we do have a question here. What does Michael think about his IRIX lenses?
I love
a lot of those.
Oh yeah, I have all the IRIX lenses except for the 11, which I just talked to the IRIX people that I'm going to test out soon. But yeah, I've been a fan of IRIX since they came out with their 45, which is, I think, their first cine lens. And I bought that one myself, and I used it because I was looking to upgrade from my Rokinon DS line. Wanted something in the budget realm, and as the years have gone on, I've just added the lenses to the kit, and I talk about them constantly. Like they've never sponsored anything. I've never received any money from them. They've hooked me up with lenses, so I guess I'll disclose that. But genuinely, like on all projects, it is some form of it.
It's like a forever loan.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to claim it in your taxes.
But if you run down the feature set, they just bat way above their price points for the clarity of the lenses themselves. They're weatherproofed.
I didn't know they were weatherproof.
Yeah, they're weatherproof. You may not attach it to a camera that's weatherproofed, but yeah, they're fully weather sealed. And so for anyone who has like a DS or mirrorless or DSLR that's weatherproof, you can go out there. I've shot snow, rain, all that.
Nice.
And you know the consistent, gearing. So if you have a rigged up system, you don't need to readjust focus motors and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I just want a 28 millimeter. 28 millimeters full frame equivalent is my favorite lens. Like, it's my favorite focal length. And it's really frustrating for me as a 28 fan because there's no options. Like, I want a 28 1.4 or something.
Okay.
And
well, they did just come out. They're 21 and 30. So it's close.
I use the C70, which is a crop sensor, so I actually need a 19, like a fast aperture 19. And I don't want it to be a full frame 19 because then it's bigger than it needs to be. So Maybe I'll talk to them and be like, hey, can I have a Super 35 19mm f1.8?
Well, I know they have a lot of photography lenses, which would still do the job and probably be a bit lighter and smaller and stuff. But
in one simple sentence, convince me to switch to DaVinci Resolve. I'm a Final Cut user.
Final Cut user, all right. If you were Premiere, I'd say it doesn't crash. Updates. As a Final Cut user, you have been neglected and by your parental overlords. And listen, I love Apple. I literally have Think Different tattooed on my arms. I rooted.
Codec updates.
You what?
They give us codec updates.
Yeah, you get codec updates and like every once in a while a support for a new camera or something. But
yeah, but it's perfect. It doesn't need upgrades.
Okay, well, okay. There's a reason that they show off Resolve more in their commercials than even Final Cut now.
Do you think that? I don't think there's more users. There's still more Final Cut users, but I think the pro audience that's buying the MacBook Pro and that's buying the Ultra, they're probably statistically using Resolve more.
Sure.
Or more than that, they don't want to promote Adobe.
Yeah, sure. But also the easiest is the fact that there's a free version that has 95% of the features that they just came out with their iPad version in December. It's great. And then through that beautiful little keyboard shortcut app, you can unlock the entire software. There's some non-optimizations to it, but you can have the edit page, fusion page, deliver page, all the pages on the iPad version.
On the iPad version.
Yeah, so when you download it, it's not there.
What are you talking about? There's a hack?
Yeah, someone found a hack. He like messaged me at like 6 a.m. one day of like, hey, I found how to get full Resolve on the iPad. I was like, I don't believe you, but show me. And basically, if you use the keyboard shortcut hooked up to an iPad, like Command Option K or something, you can see all the pages. And if you assign them a keyboard shortcut, so like I have like Shift 1 will bring up the media page, or like Shift 3 is the edit page, and it will bring up the edit page. So what they did was they clearly ported the entire Resolve to the iPad and then just turned off the pages until they could optimize them. That's and hilarious. Then we all ruined it. So apparently they did not like that. But
did they break it again? Like
no, thankfully they've like Blackmagic just, you can tell, cares about their customers. The feedback or the updates for 18.5 that they just released today, like, were things that people have been asking for. Like they're not just these features that are unnecessary, flashy, whatever. Like they will immediately be useful to every creator that's using them, and like that's just such a unique thing in this industry to see a big company do that and come out with updates so often.
Is there a way to have something similar to the magnetic timeline in Resolve?
Yeah, the cut page. The cut page acts as magnetically, and even today they've kind of created this hybrid feature where it seems like you can now create gaps in the timeline. So if you mostly like magnetic timelines, but maybe you really want a gap there, like in Final Cut you have to do like a blank insert type thing. I forget what it's called.
You insert a gap.
Insert a gap.
I have a hotkey letter G for that.
Nice.
Just stick them wherever.
So now you'll be able to actually like create those gaps in there. So it's almost like a hybrid between that.
You know, as you're telling me about it, and as I just mentioned Final Cut, I smiled a little bit. I'm like, I'm not switching. I love Final Cut.
That's great.
I will not switch. I refuse.
Like, for everyone out there that loves commenting this, like, I love the fun debates, but at the end of the day, if it works for you, great. Even Premiere.
Though, does it have a good multicam in Resolve compared to Apple?
Yeah, I'm not an expert, so I can't compare them and tell you the pros and cons.
Is it better at Final Cut with color grading?
I hope that was a joke. Yeah, I mean, Resolve literally started out as a color grading software. That's all it was 20 years ago. And so
Blackmagic bought the company.
Resolve. DaVinci, that's right. And so, yeah, in terms of color, like, we could talk subjectively what's better, Premiere, Final Cut, that for editing, but objectively, Resolve has the best color tools. And yeah, so if you
and
like
it's brilliant too, because like Fusion is kind of their version of After Effects.
Yep. Which nodes always scare people, but if you just take a couple hours to get used to it and allow yourself, like we all develop these muscle memories, like where you can edit almost blindfold. So it's always weird switching. I switched from Final Cut and I was Premiere before that for many years, so it's always weird.
Well, I switched from Final Cut 7 to X, in 2011, and that took me. I'd say it took me about 2 months to feel comfortable. And honestly, like 6 months to be fast.
Yeah, I worked at Apple at that time, and I had a lot of creatives come in and be like, "Why'd they do that? They ruined it."
I think I was just young enough to not. My brain was still malleable, and now I've become the old 32-year-old. That's like I don't want to switch.
The old 32-year-old.
And the truth is, I mean, Resolve is similar in this, but I think compared to Adobe, I paid $300 for Final Cut in 2011.
Yeah,
that's the last time I paid for it.
Yep.
But you could also say every computer I've bought is sort of paying for it. So,
but it's I mean, from a cost perspective, Resolve and Final Cut's very much on the same page. But the thing I like about Resolve for the pricing, never mind the free version, they basically, because they're primarily a hardware company, which at the end of the day, Adobe is not. So
so is Apple.
And so is Apple. So there is that difference. But like they just hand out codes like it's nobody's. Buy Blackmagic camera. Boom, here's a code. You buy a speed editor, here's a code. So like that's how I've made so many people switch, because I'll just hand out codes because I have all like the physical products.
Same. I had like 2 or 3 left over from old Blackmagic cameras. Even the original, I have the code from the original Pocket
with the old dongle and stuff. Or
it was
a code.
A SD card.
SD card.
Back then, the original cinema camera was a dongle.
Yep.
But that code still works to this day with Modern Studio. So even if you bought an old cinema camera from 7 years ago, it still works.
Yep. And for those of you who, if any of you are using that old dongle, just send them an email and they'll send you a digital code, because I was using that dongle for a long time and I was like, can I not carry this everywhere? And then Blackmagic Cloud, like the collaborations, the fact that I can come here, I could hop on your computer, open up a fresh install of Resolve and have all of my projects. Yes, of course I need my source footage on a hard drive, but all my projects, all my power grades, stills, anything that's in the database, I would just have. I just have all my projects.
Know about that. That sounds really cool.
Because they're database-centric, which is similar to Final Cut libraries. But yeah, I just log in and instantly have all my projects. I could be color grading while you're editing, all that good stuff.
Okay.
We'll get him. Yeah. We will get him.
Maybe next year.
No, my main goal is Armando, if you're out there.
Why is he still using it? Why is anybody still using Premiere? Give me a break, guys. Come on. I know. It's same for me with Final Cut. People just like it.
I think from an individual creator standpoint, they just get used to it, but also like it for a lot of people that aren't content creators, it's like, well, my client or the company I'm working with demands this, or even with creators, it's like my editor uses this. And so it's people don't like going through the big workflow if they don't need to, which I get.
And it's simple. My good friend Connor McCaskill is all Premiere, and he's shown me his timeline, and it's really clean and like simple. I think it's kind of a slow way to edit, but if you're patient enough, I think my ADHD moves so fast. Like Final Cut keeps up with my brain.
You and I have very similar, just the timelines are just chaos.
I'm kind of a maniac. When I get in the zone, I'm just sliding this thing over, pulling this thing, and that's why I love the Mac.
You put rough cut stuff down on the timeline, just I'll put that over there.
I use favorites a lot. I love favorites, and I don't think anybody's replicated that. That's one of my favorite features of Final Cut, so buy my course on mz.com.
There you go.
Michael Tobin, Initial Focus.
Thanks for having me,
How can people find you on social media?
At Initial Focus is all the handles everywhere.
What's that mean? What does that mean?
That was my original production company, and then I, like many creators, saw that people didn't like brand YouTube channels all that often, so went personal brands. But yeah, Initial Focus was just something I started back in 2014.
Nice.
And yeah.
That's great. And at Initial Focus, check them out. Thank you, Michael.
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. I love you, man.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, guys.